It is Pimp My Team Round 15 edition. This is a segment where you guys send me your fantasy sides on the Discord. Discord link is below. So you send me his fantasy side. I pimp it up, right? So I take a look at it. I tell you what I would trade, what I would do, how I'd set up your roster. And I've got to say, too, we've got some magical powers on this segment. So Tommy Talau, he is sitting in, you can see over there, he's sitting in the car on that logo. Since we put Talau in that car, he scored 9 tries in 6 games. I'm not claiming that we did it, but I am completely claiming we did it. We've got magical powers, and we're going to pimp these teams up right now. Let's get into it. First team here, Gun 40L. And I want you guys to, by the way, if you think you're a bit of a fantasy gun, drop the comment below on what you would do for these teams. So just name the team and tell me what you'd do for them. And if you leave a comment where you absolutely nail it, come back next week. Make sure you tag me and I'll check it out. Where if you've given better fantasy advice than I have, then maybe I'll have to look at you as a co-creator for the casual athlete. Let's get right into it here, though. So Gun 40L first. Got a team in a good rank, so 1,600. That's a nice spot. I'm looking at the forward pack, a lot of green dots here. I'm just going to bring this a bit closer to me. So looking at the back line, you're getting a lot of green dots, looking solid. Bench is good. Jaden Brayley, Tolu Kola, they're pretty dicey. We've got McKaylee, Karaz, Atkinson, Galvin. All right, cool. So you got 5 trades left, which is not a great amount of trades to be sitting on right now. I'm at a similar point as well. So it's not uncommon, but you don't want to be wasting trades this week. If I'm looking at your team, I think you need to stick with a guy like Brayley, for example, and try to make that work. At the same time, though, you don't have a hookup around 16, so maybe it is worth making that trade. The other guy I'm looking at here is Kola. I think you have to stick with him as well. Atkinson is a guy you can probably pretty safely sell. So my view is you sell Brayley and Atkinson, and you buy. You need a hooker for round 16 is the big thing. So you could buy. It's your choice. You can get one of Damien Cook or Jeremy Marshall King this week. We can wait a week and get Reed Money instead. Honestly, they've all got different appeal, different risks. I got Reed Money last week, but I needed to do that because I didn't want Brandon Hands after he was named with Lussick on the bench. You can do whatever you want to do here, basically. But I like the idea of any of those 3. And then Atkinson, you probably sell him for someone a bit cheaper. If you could afford Samuel Alfino, that's a great option. Probably can't afford him, though. I would say 142K. Maybe you can actually. There's potential you could afford that, so that could be a good shout as well. So yeah, I'd have a look at those 2 trades, make those your moves this week. Next up, Dogs of War. We've got a team with 9 trades, so pretty luxurious right now. Forward pack looks good. Dave Fafita as captain against Tigers is a great option. Backline, you got Jerome Hughes, nice, awesome. Backline's rock solid. Kohler again. We got Hands, Flanagan, Marshall King. Bit light down the bench. Okay, so we need to make some moves here. I'd probably be looking to make at least 2 trades, maybe more here. So if I was you, I would be selling. You're covered at hooker. I'd be selling Kyle Flanagan. I'd be selling Ryan Madison, and I'd be selling David Armstrong. So if you move those 3 on, I think Sam Hughes is a guy you could look at selling as well. But Sam Hughes is a player for round 16, so you probably hold on to him. So we're looking at Dave Armstrong, Ryan Madison, Kyle Flanagan out. You get break even on cash there, so you want some cheaper options to bring in here. Possibly look at, how does next week look? Maybe a guy like Jack Whiten could be a good option for you. I like to look at Jack Whiten actually for your team. I think he's a 46 average when he plays 6, right? So he's a good option, good buy cover as well. So if you bring in Jack Whiten and you look at 2 other options here, I'm going to throw Samuel Alfino in there again. I just think the Tigers' buy schedule and his dual position is really attractive. So you throw those two in, and then you grab one of the other options from buy, hold, sell as well. It's tough for me to figure out the exact numbers that you got available there in terms of dollars, but I'd say you have a bit of cash to spend. So you can grab one of those options that we talk about, maybe even a Jaden Campbell, for example. Have a look at how that works for your team. But I think it's going to be hard to trust Tolu Kola going forward. So Jaden Campbell might be an option you look at here. All right, JC2G. Let's get into it. 4 trades left. Ooh, okay. Let's really dig into this. So a lot of green dots. Mitch Moses as captain is brave. You got Jaden Campbell already. That's cool. Then the bench, Tungo. I like Tungo at that price, so stick with him. Hands, Finipuyaki, and Pahulu. Then the rest of the gang. Okay, If I was you, I would probably be trying to minimize my trades and spending right now with 4 trades left. What I'd be looking at here is you've got a full 17 already. So can you upgrade that 17 right now? It's probably worth having an extra player and using a loophole this week. I'd be looking at selling Atkinson. You don't have a lot of cash to spend. So you've got in that sort of 400s area to spend. Who would you buy for Atkinson is then that question. Tough one. You could look at like a Kelma Torlangi, for example. You could look at just getting Sharp. Actually, for the previous team, this might be a good option as well. I think Atkinson to Sharp is a good trade here. You free up sort of 200k as well. Then you got 200k to spend next week to upgrade your buy cover. But you're looking pretty solid already. The other guy I would potentially look at selling is Hopgood, but at the same time, maybe give him a shot this week and see how he goes. Make that call next week. The rest of the team, I think, is pretty rock solid. So that's what I'd be looking at there. Getting Sharp, free up some cash. See if you want to make another move. But I think right now you're okay. If you did want to sell Finafuyaki as well, I'd be okay with that too. It's just it brings you quite low on trades, which is pretty risky this week, especially since you already have a full 17. So that's a trade I'd look at doing. If you want to upgrade Finafuyaki, do that as well. You can get, there's a lot of options you can get there at that price. You can get anyone below about 700k. You can sort of do whatever you want. There's a lot of options at that price. In buy hold, so we talked about quite a few players in that price point. All right, Dusko, head-to-head team. So pretty good ranking here, but the head-to-head is the focus. It means that round 16 is not going to be on my agenda for you at all. So for this week, it's a good team. Jermaine Hopgood is going to leak cash. That's one of my concerns here. Then for the back line, you got Wishart already. You're in a good spot there. Latrell Mitchell as captain is brave if you're doing that again. Adam Elliott here is a guy I don't fully trust. Okay, but you got a pretty strong and deep roster. If I was you, I'd be using the loopholes and just sticking with this team. I think you're in a good spot. Would I make any trades? You could sell Armstrong. If you're a head-to-head team, I think Armstrong to Sharp is a really good trade. You can just make that move straight away. Sharp looked pretty solid. He scored well last week. So Armstrong to Sharp, free up some cash, sit on that cash. Wait till after the round 16 buy, because you probably won't play a head-to-head matchup next week anyway. And your current team is quite strong. You could look at selling Hopgood as well. I don't mind moving to a different position here instead. So if you sell Hopgood, you can go Hopgood to Jerome Hughes, for example. I quite like that trade. The buy schedule doesn't matter to you that much. You could wait out and see how Sean Johnson pans out as well. He could be an option too, but I think Hopgood with that back injury in Origin as well is kind of dicey. And Parramatta have that buy in round 20, which actually does affect you as an Origin coach or head-to-head coach as well. All right, Noah next. He won our TBC live competition this week. So for Noah, look, 22,000 rank. You got some room to improve here. You got a few blank spots in your roster as well. So Sam Hughes in that starting side. The rest of the team looks quite strong. Dave Fitt is a good captain. Nick Klokstad's been in great form. Garrick as well. You still got Ben Trebojevic, which is really cool. He's been killing it. You've got one trade here suggested. So Sam Hughes to Fanua Blake. I like it. I like it a lot. That locks up your middle forward rotation. You still have 662k. I think with the way your team is right now, you need to make another move. What would I be looking to do? Probably Dave Armstrong out and buying a big gun, right? So Jerome Hughes is one option I'm throwing around quite a bit. I think for you, Armstrong, Jerome Hughes, it leaves you a bit of cash to spare. That could be a good option. Let's see, the half spot, you've got Sam Walker for round 16. Theoretically, KO Weeks, but he's probably more in the back line for you. Max Plath, but you'll use him in the middle anyway. Oh, actually, you might use Plath at half, right? So you might have Plath in the half spot, and then you have Samuel Afinu, Max King, and Max Plath as your middle forward. So you probably don't need that spot covered for half. So you might be looking at the back row, pretty strong back row already, but you can look at a second row instead. You get like an Eli Katoa sort of type. I think he's a strong keeper option in the back row. So maybe looking at that Armstrong to Katoa could be an option for you instead. But yeah, have a look at buy, hold, sell as well. Check out those guys, see who fits for you. All right, Jakey 07, and we're looking at 10 trades left. All right, you're flush, mate. You are flush. You're spoiled. While everyone else is struggling, you are stacked. So let's look at this team. A lot of green dots here. Tom Eisenhuth, truther. Love it. Jerome Hughes as captain is bold. Backline looks really, really strong. The bench, again, very, very strong as well. Kola, Marzu, good loopholes. Brandon Smith and Dan Atkinson are the two guys where I'm sort of looking at them going, what's their future on this roster? With 10 trades left, I think you can move them both on. So I would possibly, if I was you, there's a few ways you could do this. I'd probably look at Brandon Smith and Atkinson out, buy Sharp for one of them. Then that frees you up with about 600, 700K for the other one. And you upgrade basically at that point. So Brandon Smith, Atkinson out, Sharp, and someone else in. Have a look at those options in that price point. See who you like, see what you need for your team. But I would look at buy, hold, sell. I'd probably be targeting, just having a look at your roster. I think your back line is pretty well covered already. You're covered for round 16 as well. Your halves pairing. Okay, so you're short a half for round 17. The back row is second row is all good. The middle forward rotation, you got Fino. Middle forward, you could target one of those as well. You could get a Fanua Blake, for example. I actually don't mind that. If you went, I don't know if you have the money for that actually, but if you went Brandon Smith and Atkinson out and Sharp and Fanua Blake in, you might not be able to afford that, but something like that is where I'd be looking for you. All right, Moody up next. Welcome to the gang, bro. Moody's got a little Instagram page as well, so just drop it in the comments here, man. But good to see you on here. So Moody, let's look at this team. A lot of green dots. Yeah, Blore. I like holding on to Blore through this period. I think it's a good option. The bench is all quite solid as well. So we've got Strange, Kohler, and Brayley are those three options. You can look at moving Sam Hughes. But did I make you yawn, by the way? You look at moving Sam Hughes, that's an option. I don't think you need to. I think you've got a deep enough roster that you don't have to make too many trades this week. This is after. Wait, is this? Do you have? You have 4 trades remaining after using 2. Okay, so this is after 2 trades already. Yeah, I think this is a good side. I wouldn't make any more trades to this. I would use Kohler and Strange as probably loophole options this week. But I think you're looking pretty solid here. So run with that. Those trades are good. Keep Sam Hughes for round 16 is the advice there. You're looking pretty strong across the board for round 16 as well. Might need to make a couple of last minute trades, but yeah, looking good. All right, Beden head-to-head roster here, so more focused on that. What are we doing? So Reese Robson, a little bit dicey. Obviously had the neck injury last week. It wasn't major, but it was enough to keep him out after backing up from Origin. The forward pack is good. Yep, across the board. Kept Nico Hines. I like that for a head-to-head coach quite a bit. Then 2 weeks. So it's the last video I record on Tuesday nights. KO Weeks is good. Backline is all really good as well. Yeah, Latrell like that. Like the bench. Pierre Kura is going to make some cash, so stick with him. That's good. So you got one trade here suggested. Kohler for Campbell. Yeah, you're a head-to-head coach, so Kohler actually has no value at all to you. The value that he has to overall coaches is the round 16 buy, right? So he plays that major buy round. But for you, there's no sense in holding him. Jaden Campbell's a good option. You already got Jack Whiten, who's the other guy I'd suggest in that scenario. So, yeah, I like that a lot. Jaden Campbell's a guy you can loophole as well if you want to, because you've got a very strong starting group. The other option is that you move Garrick to center and you loophole Whiten instead, who's a bit less reliable than a lot of these guys too. So they're probably your 2 options there, but I do like Jaden Campbell quite a bit for your team. With 7 trades left, if you're a head-to-head coach, that's the big thing. You don't want to be burning your trades out too early. You want to be peaking with some trades at the end of the season. So I like that one trade for you. I wouldn't do any more. The one thing to consider here, though, is as a head-to-head coach, you're kind of screwing yourself over with Jaden Campbell. So round 17 is a head-to-head round. And right now, you're going to be missing Manly, Titans, and Rabbitohs players. So if I look at your backline right now, I'm looking at Jack Whiten, Ruben Garrick, Latrell Mitchell, all not playing that round. You can move KO Weeks into the wing fullback spot. Kohler wouldn't play, obviously, as well, so holding him is not going to help you. You're kind of in a tough position, actually, because you're going to be missing, as it stands, a center and a wing fullback in 2 weeks' time. Jaden Campbell will be one of those guys on a buy as well. So I might actually recommend steering clear of Jaden Campbell instead and getting another option at some point. It's a case of who, right? So a lot of my advice is geared towards overall. I'm actually going to say no, don't buy Jaden Campbell. It depends on your strategy, right? If you're going well enough and you're high enough on the ladder that you can cop a loss in round 17, go ahead with this trade. But if you need to win that game to make the finals, then start thinking about that right now and just look at how many bunnies, seagulls, and titans you have out that week already and what you can handle. That's going to be the big question. So yeah, that's what I'd look at there. Who you buy? That's a harder question. Check out buy, hold, sell. But I think you're in a good spot in general for your team. Just keep an eye out on that trap is the big thing. All right, Riley up next. So Riley into rank 11K. So you're moving up the ranks. So you were like 25K a few weeks ago, I think it was. So definitely sliding up. A lot of green dots, really strong roster. The bench is quite strong as well. Atkinson, Hughes are probably the two guys that are shouting out to me, hey, sell me. Atkinson in particular. You got 5 trades in the bank, so not too many to use. I'd be looking at Atco to Sharp again. It just frees up some cash. I do like that trade quite a bit for a lot of teams. Another option there, you've already got Aiken in the back row as well. At center, you've got Hughes already. You don't have hands. He could be an option you look at. Yeah, how you going for this week? Probably need a hooker for next week if you do want to make that move. This is a tough one. I think overall you're quite strong. You got hands already too. You got him in the starting half spot. All right, Ariel, we'll get you. The dog wants to come up, guys. All right, so we're doing buy, hold, sell, Ariel. Well, not buy, hold, sell. We're doing fantasy advice. So for this team, you could look at Brayley. I mean, the hooker spot is a bit dicey right now, right? So Harry Grant's your guy, but he's a bit dodgy through the origin period. So I'd probably be looking at what do you do with Brayley at this stage? So maybe Brayley and Atkinson could be the two sells, and you could go and get a Top Gun option and a cheapie as well. That could be the option too. You could look at Damien Cook here. I don't mind Damien Cook for your team. You're not too heavy on Titans, Seagulls, and Souths players already. So you can get one of those guys. I do like Cook as an option actually for your roster. All right, Only Duck up next. Now, Only Duck, you've got Robson and Hopgood, who are both a bit dodgy in terms of backing up from Origin. Both had some issues with their nerves and all that kind of thing. So for those guys, I'd be keeping an eye on that. For the rest of the team, it's a really strong starting side. Kohler is really dodgy at center as well. Ariel, come on, you got to pay attention to the show. We're giving team reviews. So for the bench, it's a good bench as well. It's got a few doggies players, which leaves you a bit vulnerable for this week. You kind of have to make a call, right? So if I was you, I'd probably be selling Armstrong and Curran out of that group. And looking at buying a couple of guys here, you got 263K in the bank, so you're in a pretty good financial position. Overall, 263K in the bank, Armstrong and Curran. Got Feeder already, got Jerome Hughes, who I like as well. You probably want a hooker for round 16. So we're going to want to get a Jeremy Marshall King or a Damien Cook. So I'd probably go Curran and Armstrong out. Either Jeremy Marshall King or Damien Cook, your choice of those two, in. And then you're going to have sort of 500 to 600K to spend. For your team, I think you could use a bit more backline cover. You got KO weeks there as well. But I'd probably look at getting a Jaden Campbell or a Jack Whiten or one of these sorts of value players who has some big upside there as well. So Armstrong, Curran out, Damien Cook, Jeremy Marshall King, one of these guys, and then Jaden Campbell, Jack Whiten, whatever your flavor of that is, in to shore up the back line there is the big move. All right, rolling through. Kaden's up next. 5 trades left, Kaden. Mate, we're in a dicey spot here. Coruscant is playing at 7 this week. We've got Yo, who's been on fire as well. Sorensen for feeder. Yep, green dots all across the starting side. Joey Manu could be a captain option this week if you wanted to go crazy against that Parramatta left edge. Para were dodgy last week. Crichton scored 70 plus against them, so Joey Manu could score 1,000. Bench is a bit lighter, but Xavier Wilson's back this week. Blaze Talangi is actually a guy that you can vaguely trust at this stage, which is pretty cool. But overall, yeah, I wouldn't make too many trades. I think you're in a pretty good spot. You could look at moving on guys like Jaden Brayley or Helem Lukey, who don't have a lot of buy value for you right now. The Cowboys don't play 16 or 19, and we've got Nanai back as well. So I wouldn't mind selling those, but with 5 trades left, I think you need to err on the side of hold. So I'd probably, if I was you, be looking at holding, sticking with this roster as it is right now, trying to loop Blaze into that spot instead of Xavier Wilson instead. That's probably the big thing that you're going to be trying to do there. And then Kohler is pretty dicey as well, but he could be an option that you loop into. All right, Titans winning the Prem 2024. We've got a few Titans teams actually coming up right now. But Titans winning the Prem. Let's see your roster here. So a lot of green dots on the starting side, green dots across the board. Bench is solid. Again, it's Armstrong, right? It's the same advice as everyone else. I would be selling Armstrong if I was you. You can do quite a few things here. You've got a pretty flexible team. You've already got Aitken. You've got a pretty strong back line, so you don't have to buy an outside back necessarily. Wishart as well. 155k. 6 trades left. I'll probably just do the 1 trade and go Armstrong out and buy someone, right? Have a look at your team for next week, but for mine, I think you're in a pretty good spot. You're pretty covered in the back line. To me, it looks like. So, you're pretty covered in the halves. I'd maybe go Armstrong to Jerome Hughes. I think you need the half still. So that's probably what I'd be looking to do. Armstrong to Jerome Hughes. That'd be my shout. You covered at hooker. Yeah, your forward pack's pretty strong. That's the move. All right, Titans on top. A separate Titans team. 3 trades left. 3 trades left. And you're already flirting with Brayley to Campbell. Oh, I think with 3 trades left until round 20, by the way, you get 8 new trades in round 20. I think you need to try and err on the side of holding as much as you can. So I would be sticking with Jaden Brayley instead of moving him to Jaden Campbell, personally. And we have a second dog appearing. We have a much bigger dog, Amaya. Who's your favorite dog? Let us know in the comments. But for this team, yeah, I'd be steering towards. I mean, you could sell Curran if you wanted to as well. That's an option too. But overall, I think you want to steer clear of making too many trades. So Brayley could theoretically just come out and have a big score this week as well. I'd probably not make any trades if I was you. I don't think Jaden Campbell is a surefire must-have option. And there is that injury risk as well. And with 3 trades left, you can't really afford to buy and sell a guy. So keep those trades for this week, see what's going on next week, and make the moves then. So, Mayor, we're doing team reviews. You gotta pay attention. We're working right now. All right, Akasuki. Let's see this team. So a lot of green dots here. Bench is full of green dots as well. Brayley's on the extended. That's cool. I would probably try and work a way into using Kohler in that loophole as well. The bench here, you got Keeney too. I trust Keeney more than I trust Kohler, actually. So I'd pull Kohler out, bring Keeney in. But overall, it's a good roster. You got 6 trades left, a bit of cash to use. If you wanted to sell someone, you could. I don't think you necessarily need to. You could look at potentially moving Sam Hughes on for Jack Whiten. I think that's a good trade. Other than that, I'm not super desperate to move for you if I'm you. All right, Ephraim, brand new to the Pimp My Team, so welcome, mate. Let's check out this team here. So Sam Hughes is an issue for you in the starting side. Bench is quite strong. Max King's out as well. Okay, how do we find someone to play in that middle forward spot is the question. Let's see. Let's have a look. All right, so Fino and Plath, they both play that next major buy round, so you're in a pretty good spot there. You could sell Hughes or you could sell Kohler, but your backline probably needs the help. of Kohler next week. So I'd probably be selling Hughes if I was you. Who could you sell Hughes for? You've got 253K in the bank. You've got a bunch of money to use as well. You could sell Hughes and Brayley, and you could buy one of these hookers I'm talking about and a middle forward. That could be an option there for you. Overall, they're in a pretty strong spot. So check out buy, hold, sell. There's a lot of options I'm going to talk about in that video that are going to be relevant for you. And with 10 trades left, you can sort of pick from that group as much as you want there. All right, then we got, man, don't be shy. Then we've got this team from Wicked. Let's see. I feel like, are you on Android, by the way? I feel like it's like an Android sort of setup here. So for Wicked, a lot of green dots. I think you're pretty clean, man. I think with 6 trades left, you can probably afford to just sit on it this week. Try not to make too many trades. You got 124K in the bank. Would it be worth upgrading someone? I'm not that captivated by most of the options around. You could look at... It's not even worth doing, is it? I think you're pretty clean. You could look at moving Brayley for one of these hookers that we're talking about, so Jeremy Marshall-King or Damien Cook. I'll let you down. Yeah, Jeremy Marshall-King or Damien Cook, Brayley. I think that's a good move for you to make. So that's what I'd be looking at doing if I was you. Other than that, really try to save some trades is my big advice here. Awesome, guys. That is Pimp My Team. But shout outs to Fantasy Kitten, who came in a bit late, Brayblade as well. We've got a few guys who have joined recently this week. So if you were new this week, a few of you guys, awesome. Love to see that too. Otherwise, we're not doing that right now. That is Pimp My Team. So hopefully it was good. Let me know if you have any other fantasy questions. We'll try to answer each other's questions on the comments of this video. Otherwise, best of luck this week. Peace out, everyone.